I just had a question regarding what you're saying versus, I guess, what you call the efficient market theory, which is really no individual can actually get more information from the system, legally than anybody else, and it's all built in. And in particular, people do talk about how almost nobody can do better than the indexes. And of course, there's two counterexamples, which is Peter Lynch of Magellan and Warren Buffett, of course. And then people say, well, Warren Buffett, you can't really count him because he actually goes and, like you said, gets on the boards and helps manage the company. So he personally takes a role in making the company successful, which obviously most of us can't do. And then Peter Lynch, he had a very strong run, but then once he got out of Magellan and started predicting stocks, kind of his private portfolio actually didn't beat the market. So even, and I'd say all of us here, we work at Google, and yet so we think we probably know something about the internet business and whatnot. And even I think most of us are pretty astounded by the way Google's performed and continues to perform. And even I'm here for many years, I have no idea what's going to happen in the internet business and the sales and advertising market and so forth. So I'm not sure how I would even apply the things that you're saying personally, even being in the business that I'm in.
Sure. So let me try and unpack that a little bit. So, Buffett's best rebuttal to efficient market theory is a speech that he gave called "The Super Investors of Graham and Doddville," where he played out a scenario of a national coin flipping contest where everybody flipped a coin, and the iterations went daily until there were 20 or so left, and said that wouldn't it be awful weird if all 20 came from the same town, right? And then he outlined the results of what he called the super investors of Graham and Doddville, which were basically a collection of people that studied under Graham or were heavily influenced by his teachings. I will say that during the partnership years, there was no index investing, right? That hadn't been invented yet. But even then, Buffett was making the case that if you can't outperform the market, the index, the general results of the Dow Jones, which is what was the primary one, I guess S&P today, then you shouldn't be investing actively, right? It is the onus of the active investor to outperform, and those who can't outperform are doing a disservice to their investors, by being active, right? In terms of how you personally can go about taking on a value approach would be to do one, exactly what you started with, which is reject things that you don't think that you can really have a strong view upon in terms of how the future is going to unfold. It may be very different than perhaps, buying a dry cleaner that has an advantaged position next to the train station, in the town in the commuter town and in whatever XYZ America, right? So looking at the stocks as businesses, I think is the best way to do it when you have a strong view of what those businesses are worth and you're presented with prices in the market that are different than that. I think that's the essence of it. And what those will be dependent on, your own circle of competence, what you know and are capable of valuing, which I'm sure is a lot when you start to think about it.